we are starting with the side event first. So let me just get more inquiry from my team members here to know the host of the side event.
Sorry? I'm going to start with the host. I mean the host event, or there's another one who is going to chair?
Nani, Dr. Okeyo is chairing the side event.
Okay.
He has a side event.
He's a presenter, I think.
Yes.
Is he not the presenter?
Yes, Dr. Okeyo is the presenter.
Okay, let me introduce him.
Okay, go ahead and introduce him.
Oh, he's going to introduce himself?
No. You can introduce him.
Okay, welcome again to this side event. Our session focuses on strengthening health system through supervised pre-service internship, a topic for which our keynote speaker is perfectly suited for. Dr. Okeyo is a distinguished leader with 15 years in public health and nutrition. He is a CEO of Kenya Nutritionist and Dietetics Institute, KNADI, the national regulatory body for the profession, and editor-in-chief of the Journal of Nutrition and Dietetics. His career uniquely bridges higher-level policy, academia, and frontline regulation. He has shaped the national health workers reform and infant feeding policies, and he has consulted on nutrition curricula across East Africa. This combination of roles as a regulator, researcher, and policy advisor gives him an parallel perspective on turning evidence into actionable practices. Dr. Okeyo has over 15 years of experience in health and nutrition research. Now, currently, he serves as a chief officer of Kenyan Nutrition Dietitians, and which regulates the training practices and research. Now, he will speak for 15 minutes. No, 50 minutes, followed by 15 questions and answers. Please hold your question until then. He will be counted when he starts to present from now. Please join with me to welcome Dr. Okeyo. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Chair. And Chair, may I correct the event? It is not a keynote. What the title you read was keynote. This is a side event. And
a side event?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
The title
Go on.
The title is on the screen. So
but it is 1 hour?
It is 1 hour. Thank you, Chair. I think we are done. Good morning. You know,
good morning.
One thing I know is that the biggest problem we have in Kenya and other parts of the world is about time management. Seriously, a bigger issue which is affecting service, academics, and research. You know, there are certain types of research that if you do, if you miss just 1 minute, you have changed the entire results. And time is money. And we have 24 hours a day. Some of us squander the time, others use it very well. So the difference between levels of acquisition of knowledge is about time. While people are given equal time to read, some will lot around, particularly in the university. And when the time comes for exams, you find them, they put very little. And so they fail not because they were not in class, but because they didn't use their time well. So I'm begging you, we are scientists, we came to learn, not to eat. Hallelujah. And so I'm warning the people providing food that they have to be quick. If not, we leave them with their food. Because man should not live on bread alone. Anyway, that is Dr. Okeyo. And
Now I'm starting to count your time now.
no problem. You can now start counting my time. Chair, now I can start. So, ladies and gentlemen, in as much as we have had the academic component of this conference, which has just come from our keynote, what Johan was presenting is very detailed paper. We'll have to share the entire paper with you because there are a lot of issues that have been skipped. And it would be good that we run it all through so that you can have it. And then where you have questions, you can also send. So I'm going to show case of a working regulatory framework for nutrition and dietetics, which is applicable in health and agriculture sector. And this is a case of Kenya. You all know that we don't have any other regulatory authority in any country. I just saw 2 weeks ago, Nigeria was presenting their first draft of such a regulation in parliament. And it was a heated debate that no one wanted to accept it as a standalone because they are used to allied health science professionals. Now in Kenya, we were blessed with a regulatory act in 2007, the only one in the world. Zambia only got an act of parliament which was on food security and nutrition, but it is a service act. It is not a regulatory act, which means that we have a gold. And that is why we have our vision as setting gold standards in nutrition and dietetics. And just as from yesterday, you know very well that we are in the conference, which is the 5th in the series of G&D conferences. And here is a platform for knowledge sharing. Let me tell you, the nutritionists were hungry for where to share knowledge. And we have now brought it. Because for you to go and share your knowledge, you could either apply for a conference outside the country and you look for funding, which most of the time you cannot be awarded. And they can't award all the nutritionists to go for conferences outside. Now we have it in Kenya and you can access it. Why? It's because of the service arm of KNDI. Now, looking at your act, the CAP 253B, which is an act regulating the professionals and the profession. The bit that has been left out is the profession. Many people think, even parliamentarians who created the act, some of them think that we are a professional body purely and not a regulatory body. And most of the time, they say that we regulate the professionals. Now, if you read that mandate, it is the profession and the professionals. The profession is nutrition and dietetics. If you want to be more specific, human nutrition and dietetics. Now, the Act has about 10 functions for the Council. The first 4 functions are regulatory domain functions. And the second is service domain functions. So unlike the Law Society of Kenya that regulates their own professionals, and the regulatory functions were taken by the Council for Legal Education, KNDI still has the 2. So the only way to come up with another version of what people expect is when the 2 functions are separated. Otherwise, at the moment, the law still covers the 2, and it must be enforced. So because of that conflict in terms of interpretation, the Council, in their wisdom, decided that why don't we then still serve Kenya and separate the domains so that we can have service domain, which is now running what you're doing now. And then we also have the regulatory domain, which remains with the Council. So you will see that in terms of setting standards or a framework for the professional practice and also standards for enforcement, and also quality assurance and approving training institutions, that remains with the council. So that is a purely statutory regulatory function done by committees through council. Now, in terms of research, competency of members training for professionals, and performing other functions, including active review of foods and food supplements, that is a service function. So if you go to our website, you'll find a dashboard like this, and you'll find so many service delivery ends on that website. The most important is that some are regulatory, others are service. For example, the first component there, the product endorsement, is a service. If Weetabix comes here and they want their value chain process to be assessed for integrity, that is coming directly under service. And so we have to get expertise to do that service. And those expertise are subject to the council. Also, when we talk about leadership and emotional intelligence training and capacity building, those are also service functions. And they are meant to strengthen the professionalism. Now, so far, in the regulatory framework, we have managed to do a few things as achievements, which you need to know. We know that currently we have about 14,500 plus. If you add the current year, it will be 15,000 plus. And we have about 6,300 students currently in campus. And also, we have engaged 10 CPD providers who improve knowledge of professionals that are accredited. And then we have 4 large food companies that have been endorsed for their value chain process integrity, as well as 8 products now approved. If you go to the Brookside line of products, we have approved 6 of those products, which are claiming nutrition. So, how did the council decide that they want to run this process? Council decided to separate the service functions and engaged a third party, which is allowed. If you have ever remembered the model for the University of Nairobi, when the university was running programs, they had what was called UNES. UNES was purely a business model, but training graduates, isn't it? Now, KNDI introduced ATRI, which is a public limited company that is owned 100% by the professionals. So if you have ever heard of ATRI, ATRI means Agenga Training and Research Institute. During the internship programs, which were done in 2015 to 2022, between 2015 to 2017, we had a program running in Busia County, in Funyula, around Funyula, where we are having an academy for nutritionists and dietitians. And they were staying there for 1 year, working in Busia County, under community and public health domain. The intention was to come up with an academy which looks like the Law Society of Kenya. That is what is called legal school. That is Law School of Kenya. That was the intention. At some point, the community and politics came and we brought it back here. So ATRI still exists. And now how does it exist? It exists to do functions from number 6 to the last. And this is where now we deliver direct service. So if you look at our vision, which everyone must run with, we have an innovative regulatory institute in the provision of nutrition and dietetic services recognized where? Internationally. Are we internationally recognized? Just by this conference, we have drawn participants from all over the world. If you look at the abstract, Some of them come even from Hungary, South Africa, Nigeria, and they are convened here. Our current chair now, the one sitting when I'm presenting, is from Tanzania. So we are moving international. Our professionals are recognized now internationally. We do equation and certification for those who are working in UK in collaboration with the regulatory authorities there. And for us to go international, we must collaborate. And if you have gone to our boardroom, you'll see we are collaborating with many universities. That is Nelson Mandela, Bayero University, that are not in Kenya. We did MOUs with 6 universities, linking them up with such universities. So this vision is built on public good enhancement within the food and health sector. The Institute, in its capacity, embraces collaboration with the private sector within ethical business lens. So we have no boundary for collaboration. If you want to collaborate with us, whether you're a private entity or public entity, as long as there is no conflicting aspect of the collaboration within the regulatory framework, we will work. And this includes even private professionals who are doing their own businesses. For example, if you have an app and you want it to be used or applied nationwide, the conduit is KNDI. So you can come on board, and then we make sure that it becomes a national tool to be used. And this one is encouraging entrepreneurs under business incubation. In terms of infrastructure, we have our own infrastructure. If you look at this building of yours, it is purely built with the professional money and own effort in service ends like research and consultancy. There is no government money that has come in it. In fact, many times the ministry and the National Treasury have asked me that why are you not coming in for the budget for your institution? And my answer is always, I don't want your money. Yes. And sometimes somebody may be wondering, why don't you want the money? Now we are sitting in a caucus of CEOs of regulatory board, some of whom are on exchequer. And Prof, you know that. And they will tell you that the exchequer is money on paper. So you can be given an exchequer location, but at the end of it all, it does not come. But then you cannot execute because you're told, go to eCitizen and let your money go there. It takes 1 month for your money to be released for service. Then you become handicapped. That's why I said we don't want your money. Now, it is better to use your own resources than. And how do you get those resources? The Act itself allows you and I to access funds directly from bilateral and multilateral organizations through partnership and privatization. For example, if the Business Incubation Partnership Wing brings money, this money comes through ATRI and goes directly to KNDI functions. It cannot be taxed because it is doing government work. So that hub that I'm talking about is called the National Treasury for KNDI. And you can tell me which building in this city, it looks beautiful like this when it's a government building. If you tell me that, I will give you grants. So this is what the council thought about, and with this, we reached out to different government sectors, including laboratories, and did MOUs with KFIs and others, and universities, and we can access laboratories everywhere in this country for purposes of doing our research and other functions. Now, why am I emphasizing so much on this? Because of the partnership capacity. When you are private, there's no way somebody will tell you don't engage in business. And let me give you an example. The Nursing Council of Kenya today, if they want to develop a curriculum, for example, that curriculum must be approved by the cabinet secretary. When KNDI develops a curriculum, the council approves and we implement. And that has given us what is called self-regulation, which means the professionals themselves sit down like this and they decide on what they want the institution to do, including the businesses they want the institution to enjoy. And that cannot be within any boundary. You cannot do that with other boards. And no, you'll always realize that when we are meeting, they say, no, Dr. Okeyo, as we cannot do that, you can do it because you seems to be more independent. So they tell you, we will hide behind you so that this thing can be done. Why? Because of that independence, which was brought in by Parliament. So in our partnership structure, we have the ATRI PLC, which directly reports to the council and is 100% owned by the council, which means it is for your institution as a business model. It has a board which is well approved, and that board is from time to time changed by the council. The board has one member who is a professional representing the professionals and technical expertise. Now, this allows KNDI to collaborate with county government, national government, universities, laboratories, research institutions, and then business incubation, which means privatization with entrepreneurs being onboarded, and then the NGOs. So we can work, that's why we're signing MOU with SAN for the CSOs, the 400 CSOs. Now, when you have that kind of a network, you don't need money from Buddy. He once asked me, and I told him, I don't need your money. Because we can look for money and do you functions. Now, what we are adding here, if the policy comes out of this because of the researches, it will be government work without government money coming from appropriated funds, exchequer. People just like beautifying exchequer. But exchequer is a place where people steal. Because the kind of contracts people are giving with exchequer, we cannot give. But then that money only goes to the contractors and the people who have given them. It does not go to the real person who is looking for the service. That is the model of independence. Now, we have 4 programs in ATRI. One is capacity building program, where we are looking at the professionals and key stakeholders coming in together to build capacities. So we have trainings, empowerment, all that falls under capacity building. We also have targeted interventions. Then we also have research. This is where we have the G&D and grant writing. And we are establishing innovation center. Now, very soon, and not later than as soon as Prof is gazetted and the team, we told you that we are going to start a research university. Now, if you look at KCA, for example, KCA is a university under ISPAC. ISPAC law and our law is the same. So they are running that university, but the university is reporting to ISPAC, Cancun. And they're making money, and most of you have studied there. That is how KNDI is going. So for this one, the concentration will be masters and PhDs only, just like the APHRC campus. So that is under research. We also have what we call, apart from research, we have what we call business incubation, where we have clinics and medical camps for outreaches. So if you saw us with the Machakos County conducting a medical camp in Machakos, it was purely funded by ATRI programs. No, the government said they don't have money. Machakos didn't input even one. They only contributed community health promoters to engage in the service. But the whole medical camp targeting 1,500 was funded by KNDI. So what have we done so far? We have organized it into categories: research and innovation. Now, if you look at that, can we go to the next slide, please? Just move. continue moving. Move to the next slide. Good. And I request you follow me because I'll not say next slide. If you look at that slide, this was the first collaboration we initiated with 6 universities in Kenya and 1 university from Nigeria. Now, this came into being, and so far, out of that collaboration, we have trained 25 PhD holders on how to translate research into policy, on how to do grant writing. That was done here. If you can see that picture, those are all faculty members. Those are all lecturers from the universities, the 6 universities. And the 6 universities include Mount Kenya, Masinde Muliro University, Pwani University, which other one? Technical University of Kenya, and then we have Karatina University. Maseno is not there. Now, this program also has taken 10 lecturers to Bayero University, that is Kano in Nigeria, to train them on translating research into policy. So now we have 10 trained expertise within the nutrition fraternity and 25 trained grant writing experts from across those 6 universities. So that was one. That one is when we were in Nigeria, Bayero University. Sometimes you might think I'm a Nigerian. That's how we appear when we go to countries. You have to align to their culture. Now that research component also has initiated the Journal of Nutrition and Dietetics, and that is the one that is running this conference series. That journal publishes original research, peer-reviewed, short communications, and others. And the journal also allows reviewers from all over the world. It has gone up to the 6th series now, indexed by Ajol. Now we are preparing for indexing with Scopus. And for your information, it is cross-refed. So any publication you make is visible in the scientific domain. We signed another MOU with ANSAC, which is a collaboration between experts in the universities from Canada and Kenya, targeting and US. Professor Nguka was the president chapter. He was the chair. So we signed MOU with them for training purely PhDs in basic sciences within the universities. Then we have the knowledge dissemination, which was meant for us in the Act. This comes as a result of convening conferences and webinars and workshops so that professionals can learn and improve their knowledge. We had the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and 4th conferences, and now we are in the 5th conference since 2018. We have held conferences with different sub-themes. Like last year's conference was purely on food systems, and it was as productive as the one we have for strengthening health systems. We have also collaborated with various diplomatic channels, particularly the Italian embassy. We host them here for their cuisines, and also at the same time, during their Italian week, we do symposiums with them under the office of the ambassador for purposes of knowledge dissemination. So we are collaborating at that level with them. So in terms of empowerment of professionals, we have a program that we call the mentorship, whereby we want our nutritionists to be mentored all the way from university, college, to professionalism. So we instituted what we call a student association under the name KENSA, which is registered nationally and is an association of all nutrition students in Kenya. And they hold annual conferences like we do, and we get them speakers, and out of that, we get the mentors when they are still on site. So if you see that one, was the last year's conference, I think this year's conference, on digital nutrition position at Egerton University. I was their keynote address, but it was attended virtually by all students. So we have the group of students, you cannot cheat them if you are a professional who is not aligned to the thinking of the act, because they now understand the act. So they cannot enter into KNDI Manenos when they graduate. Some of us have penetrated into them and started poisoning them. I remember this year, the University of Nairobi students decided to make some noise and create placards. They're saying, "Occupy KNDI." And when I appeared in that university, they didn't know. One almost collapsed. And they said they were cheated by some of our old professionals. That's why we are going down. But this unit is where we train these people on how to become professionals when they're still at the tender phase of their training. Now we have direct services. In as much as we are saying we are not funded by government, we support government functions. When government organizes for camps, go ahead to the next slide. We give them support technically. We get nutritionists that we pay. We give them bus, and they go for medical camps. And this was P.S. Mudhoni's medical camp in Kirinyaga, where we sent our professionals there with our own resources. They don't pay for it. We were at Machakos medical camp. 1,500 adults were attended to and counseled, and we mobilized all other medical professionals. And this was a successful activity in Machakos. After that, we received a lot of call from other parliamentarians that we also need to do that, thinking that we have a lot of money. But we will tell them that the little we have is what we use and to do impactful work. They said, "Why then can't you come so that we give you money?" We said no. And I will explain why. I think I've also explained. So we have also empowered our professionals through webinars, and I don't know how many of you have joined some of them. When it comes to webinars, we look at critical national competency areas that we train on, and we run them for at least 1 month. We also initiate leadership. I think if I go back, can you go back to, okay, go to the leadership, yes. We have a leadership and emotional intelligence training, which takes place annually here. And we partner with some of our facilitators from outside and inside and within the country to train our professionals. It is receiving very poor response because people don't want to be trained. But many of you, some of you have gone through that program. So what am I trying to bring on board, if I summarize so that I don't take a lot of time? You know very well that KNDI was created to support systems in government. And that is what many people have not understood. Systems ranging from professionals to professionalism and to the profession. And why I was calling KNDI, saying KNDI is a sector yesterday, is because when the Ministry of Agriculture was developing their nutrition-sensitive agriculture training manual, before it was launched, they had to bring it here for approval. And we launched it here. We went through it, gave it to experts, reviewed it, and we agreed that now we are going to approve. If you can see that picture, that is P.S. Kimutai, then when he was in the Ministry of Agriculture. And it tells you that you are on top to advise government, not to be subject to government. But you must do functions which will support government systems if you are to be relevant. Now, the other component that we are getting into is the component of food systems. So on the basis of this manual, and also training responsibility for the council. We have initiated what we call a value chain kitchen garden, which must be implemented by all training institutions, including certificates and degree. And it is one of the standards that if you don't meet, you don't get full accreditation. This is where we are going to also evaluate the value chain portfolio remotely to see that nutritionists know where food comes from, not just talking about what is on the table or purchased, but they must know that it is grown. Now, we demonstrated this process by first having the academy. The nutritionists who graduated were put for 1 year, and these are the things they were doing there. They would drop down their shoulders from holding degree to plant vegetables to see that these vegetables can grow with an aim that it can be upscaled. And this is the knowledge that must go to that level of college. They did very well, and when we left that place, the Agenga community was saying that we have run away with their project. In fact, the whole community wrote a memoranda to the CS that Dr. Okeyo has run away with our project because it was impacting on the community. Now, these things are just the basics of what KNDI's focus is. That's why I was saying KNDI is a sector. And it's a sector to support Ministry of Health, even Blue Economy, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Planning, and then county governments in all aspects where they require technical input on matters of nutrition. So if you go and sit and say that I'm subject to a head of department, sorry, to a head of department anywhere, it means you are running away from your mandate. So I'm doing this so that I excite you to come and join the institution to run its mandate the way Parliament put it. Parliament was not stupid to give this act the way it is. But after that Parliament, which chaired it, many have misinterpreted it. Many have misinterpreted it. But thank God we have read it, so we are implementing it. And we have never gone out of the law, even once. Hallelujah. So, the ball is in your court. Asante. You either accept the reality that you are a sector to support, or you are a subject. And so when Professor Nguka was saying yesterday that we do not want a director that is under another director, it is because the Ministry of Health is made up of 90% of physicians. And so they want to control, including health promotion, are you hearing? And nutrition. And that is why we were reduced from a division back to a unit under a director. And last year's conference, when we invited them, you remember, the director said, I'm the director. The other director is not a director. Now, will you keep quiet when your director cannot even have a voice to make a decision? That is why nutrition is failing. So you have to support the institution so that we also support. And it is very easy because we engage with cabinet secretary on one-on-one. If we make a mistake, he summons us. When he makes a mistake, we go there and say, this is how we need to run nutrition. So we must unite. How do we unite? We have a regulator, which must be supported. We have an association, which is dealing with professional matters in terms of professionalism. Then we have a union, which is fighting for welfare for those who are already working and employment of nutritionists. If that happens, then the systems for nutrition will run seamless. And now when we get into privatization and also partnerships, then we will solve the problem of nutrition the way it was created. And for us, we understand that law. That's why if they say, Okeyo is too arrogant, I tell them it's not arrogance. It is the ability to dissect and understand the legal framework. That is what is making me feel arrogant. Now you go back and read the law, and after you have read, you come back again. And most of the time, they say, we have read the law, we know what you're supposed to do. But why was this law created? Now, if you want it to go, it will also go. Shout hallelujah. Shout hallelujah. I hope I've charged you enough. That was my side events. Chair, I think I am done with that presentation. So you now know you have Atri PLC, which is your property. Are we together? So if you see us training many people, it is because it is you who is training. And it's 100% owned by KNDI. Professor Nkuka, if you have anything, you can add.
Just a rejoinder.
Huh?
Chair.
Yes. Thank you very much. Let me start with hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Okay.
Thank you for an interesting presentation. And congratulations on the achievement under the regulatory function. Sure, this one is very important, and we need in all African country to have such kind of your innovation now, how you are taking the nutrition on board alone without being under somebody or under a certain director. Now, let me take this opportunity to welcome for the questions. Any other issue arises from the presentation. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Chair. Just, we have questions. Okay, maybe we, okay. Okay, so go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm Odero. I'm the General Secretary, Kenya Union of Nutrition and Dietitians. I want to make a comment on autonomy and independence. Well, you know, we are visitors. Together with the team I'm sitting here, we are frequent visitors of MOH. It can never pass a week before we are there because of the activism and everything else. And the biggest struggle we find there is Dr. Arya said the law is misunderstood, and we agree that the law is misunderstood, but it is currently, the autonomy and independence is used to also create isolation, which is one factor that is affecting our profession. Actually, bringing down the director position from director to division, and then from directorate to division, and then to a unit, is not because they wanted to undermine them, but because of isolation. And how is the isolation coming? The isolation is coming because we have not adequately educated these people in our law. The only thing we do, we brag about a very big, good law, which I agree, we have a very good law, but we fail to educate them on how the operationals of the law should take place so that they are aware. You have to understand that the office of the CS and PS are political positions. They come with the political and whatever interests that accompanies it. So they need continuous education. But what is lacking is the continuous education. So my question to CEO is, what steps is KNDI taking to ensure that the systems which are put to operation in MOH are continually updated about the law? Secondly, there has been several attempts to mutate this law through Parliament. Actually, Dr. knows it. If you remember the Health Act 2022 or 2024, which was thrown out of court, there was a serious attempt to break down this law and put it to suit other people. So what measures are we putting as the institute and the professional currently to avoid the future? Because I am the SG of CUNAD. The following day, I will go and do my things, including politics. If I don't leave correct structures to somebody who can run the organization, it will die a natural death. So which factors are we putting in law to prevent future mutilation of that law? Thank you.
Thank you. I think I can answer those ones. I can do it with a rejoinder, if you don't mind. I was asking the CEO, but let me do a rejoinder. One, Odero, some of the questions we may not answer because you are putting us in a situation where you want us to put all our munitions in public. We cannot do that. So some, like, which mechanisms are we using to make sure that we don't mutilate? That one we cannot tell here. We'll put it under the cover. And you are aware, Odero, you and me, and CEO here, we have been in some quarters with you where it is fireworks, and you have always seen how we deal with them. So there are things we are not going to talk about here. We deal with those when we cross the river when we reach it, okay? But on letting these guys understand the law, the CEO has done a lot and is still continuing to do a lot. We educate them both in writing and even in presentation. Like what the CEO has done today. And thank you, Daktari, for doing this. I didn't know that it was one of those things. I think our colleagues who are not sure of the law, now you know the law, for those who did not know. And why we differ is because some of you just did not know that we are implementing a law of the land. And this goes even to our colleagues, especially our vice chancellors. Some of them who walikuwa kichwa ngumu, they have had to face the wrath of the law. God has given us a law that has two options. One, we have the rungu. We have the gun to shoot just in case we have to shoot. But we also have the service to soothe you and to soothe our people. So that has to be taken very seriously. And Daktari, out of this, Odero, we have recruited you and the membership of CONAD to also go and educate those who are not members of this profession on the law. We have tried to do this at the management level, at the ministry. We are talking to them directly. And for your information, you heard me praise Honorable Duale yesterday. Odero, we were with Odero. We were with Odero and Mumina. They are there. And the meeting that we had with the cabinet secretary was a very serious meeting. And Mumina can tell you, they were unable to talk. It was fireworks. But immediately after that fireworks, today, Honorable Duale is one of our best friends in that ministry. And is a person we communicate to openly. And Honorable Duale calls us for a meeting directly. But interestingly, people under him still think that they are not supposed to be like that. So we will continue educating them, but mine is to tell you now, after this, go ye and help us educate them that the law exists. In terms of mutilation, I don't think they will. That law is safety nets, serious safety nets. Where necessary, Odelo will take up, and our friends, colleagues, including Wahome here, has taken up responsibility when necessary. Equam. We don't joke around with them. And these guys, those who are already informed, have already protected the law. That law will not be mutilated. It's very difficult. They would have, but they can't. By the grace of God. Say hallelujah. Thank you. So I wanted just, okay. But let's not take much time. Give.
Okay, good morning.
Yes, we speak only,
The 7. Okay.
only 7 minutes to time.
Okay.
My name is Dana Tieno. I'm from Public Health Officers and Technician Council.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, mine is not a question, but just to commend and congratulate CONDI for the work that you're doing. From the collaborations you're making to the way you have embraced research to coming up even with a journal that showcase the work of your profession. You know, it's motivating when you do some work and it is being showcased somewhere. It really motivates. And the way you have taken the role of like motivating even the students while in school so that when they come out, they embrace the profession from the word go before they're even polluted from the information maybe from outside. So congratulations, KNDI, from Public Health Officers and Technician Council. We are here to learn from you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and maybe we have done a conference, we have held our firsts. We are yet to reach the 5th one like you, but we are looking forward to doing the great and amazing work you are doing. And to the profession, let's embrace our regulators, because it is them who will help us even move further and do a lot. So congratulations.
Thank you. Fortis has been our friend. We have helped each other for a long time. By the way, public health, we started growing with public health, and most of our tricks came from public health. But I don't know what happened. Let's there you are low. Yeah. 5 minutes. Yeah. Short, make it short so that all of you can use that 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I'm Caroline Makora. I'm from Kisi National Polytechnic. That is in the academic section. So first I want to say thank you, Dr. for the good presentation, showing us what the mandate of KNDI is. And we are learning. We are learning, and some of them we are going to implement in our learning institution. Now, there is a concern, especially for the TVET institutions, those ones that cannot be, have not been given a legal order to accredit or to award. We are having a challenge currently because the curriculum keeps on changing after a very short time. After 3 months, we are given a directive from the Ministry of Education that you need to change to this curriculum. Now, the question is, as a regulatory body, we request that if maybe you can come up with one common curriculum to your main stakeholder, especially in TVET institution, such that we may use it instead of being given an order that after we have begun with this curriculum, after 3 months, you are forced that you need to change to this one. Maybe something you need to think about it, and maybe you can assist us at that end. Thank you.
Let me just answer this. Please, let's get this. Let me give you this piece of advice. All national polytechnics are now having a charter, okay? And they're supposed to develop their own curriculum. And KNDI has developed a core curricular guideline. Do your curriculum and send it to KNDI. Now, a circular from Cabinet Secretary for Education is not a law. That is a circular. It is administrative. So there is fair administration of laws, of administration laws, which require that the cabinet secretaries also comply with the laws. So they cannot tell you to do. The curriculum that we have approved is the SINDAC curriculum, which now you can leave for those who are not national polytechnics and do your own and bring it here for approval. You implement, we'll register those students. Where you have issues, write to us, copy the cabinet secretary, then we'll reply you and we copy to the cabinet secretary. That is the only procedure. We were not on that, but now that you have asked, that is what we'll do. So implement nutrition. CS, Cabinet Secretary Education, in charge of TVET, is not a nutritionist.
Very important. I think that has been answered. So we have, yeah, quickly, short, the two of you. So one, then the last one.
Thank you, Dr. Okeyo, for that wonderful presentation about our profession. For me, it's a comment, and it's a challenge to all of us professionals, because sometimes when we sit back here, you hear the way sometimes professionals, we speak about our profession, they speak about KNDI, and sometimes it's very worrying because this is our profession. Yeah. If you're already registered nutritionist or dietitian, you should be a friend of KNDI, because KNDI is our regulator, and they are the ones who fight for our profession on our behalf. And therefore, I'm calling all of us, including myself, to stand with this profession because it's our profession. Let's do the right thing. Here we have nutritionists, probably even who are seated here, who have not renewed their license, who are practicing, but their license is not up to date. Those are small things that you're supposed to do as a professional so that your profession can continue running. So I'm just challenging all of us, even to read the law. This act is online, so you can download it, you can read it, cover page to cover page, so that when someone comes to challenge you, you have the knowledge. And then maybe to answer a question that was asked, we have a unit called Policy and Legislation Nutrition in the university. And I make sure in MKU I teach that course because I'm very passionate about the profession. We want the student to learn about regulation of nutrition and dietetics from the time they are students. before even they come to register, they understand this act, because they will be the CEO of KNDI in future. They will be the chair of KNDI, like Professor Nguka there. And we want them to understand these concepts from the time they're in the university before they are polluted. So let us take this very seriously. This is our profession. Let's fight for it. Let's speak positively about it. Let us support the institute so that then in future, we are going to have a wonderful profession that we'll be proud of. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wahome. Last, the last one. Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
I just want to comment about the mandate of KNDI. My name is Purity. I work in Murang'a County on product endorsement. It's just a concern on where our role is in as KNDI and KEB. Maybe just a clarification. I think we had that small discussion yesterday with Prof about the products in the market. We have even some that were displayed. We had, they have like the fortified flour, they add skimmed milk. But when you come to the profession and practice, we're always advising our mothers not to put milk in porridge. So you're wondering, does it change when these products are with the miller? Because there is nothing else they have done apart from milling and packaging. So maybe we need to come out clear. To me, endorsement looks like advertisement, more on advertisement more than regulation. So we need to come out clear there, because we are the people on the ground. We get a lot of questions, even on the other product, like the cereal, Weetabix. Like is KNDI advertising Weetabix? We talked about regulating products in the BMS Act, which
You have
are
understood your question. Can I answer
marketed.
it?
Just finishing.
So that we don't interfere with the time. It's a
The,
question that
the
has been
font on the product being marketed for under 3, it's really tiny.
yeah.
I don't know what you're doing about that. Thank you.
Can we answer that? The product. Now, number one, nutritionists must grasp their science properly. That's number one. Because your pieces of advice, like what you have just said, the matter of milk, is out of order in science. So go and read. Number two, Kenya Bureau of Standards have a mandate. They are custodians of standards. I hope you have understood the custodian. It means that they have a series of standards which for food products is called the S standards, which is given in form of S mark on a package. S mark on a food product does not mean that food product is healthy. It only says that the food product is in compliance with the manufacturer's specification within those standards. So whether it is toxic to the body is not KEB's business. And that is what they told Public Accounts Committee when we both appeared there. They say they don't do tests. They only rely on manufacturer's specification. Now, Parliament gave KNDI additional responsibility in 2019. Section 6J says, KNDI shall actively review food and food products and give Kenyans the correct position. All along you have said, vegetable fats are bad. That's what you tell mothers. It is wrong. It is wrong because a vegetable fat, for example, the palm oleic, which is purely essential fatty acid, is good for health. But what you know there is fat is bad. There are good fats and bad fats. So the value chain process is scientific. And so when it is endorsement is just another term. It's like approval. Just like Maseno University would be approved after going through the process. It is also an endorsement to the public. So let us stop using the gimmicks of marketing. We don't market. If you come here with sugar-sweetened beverage for regulation, it is very clear in our SOP. We don't do value chain, and we don't approve any sugar-sweetened beverage. If you want to remain in business, we'll meet with you at the point when there are NCDs, and we'll introduce regulation that would tax you to treat people who are suffer from NCDs. So that is the purpose for KNDI. So let us be very clear. You understood your purpose as a profession. This is now a profession with scientists who can assure Kenyans of the right thing. And if you go through our parliament presentation in the YouTube, you'll notice that it came out, that question came out, and they say, then you people should be empowered to do more. Are you hearing? So let us not discuss things if we don't have the science. Let us put our science well, and where there's a problem, now you can say this science is not correct. And you must also use science to discredit that. That's okay? We are not allowing you to talk on this matter. We are on science.
So we are done. I think with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are done for this. We are going to continue with, I hand it back over to you, Chair
Yeah.
of session, so that you can continue with the quick presentations.